Hello, TE 826 people. I like to start out this class doing a little video that deals with your own experiences in language learning. The discussion this week will be, what was your experience with learning Spanish in high school, or French, if it was French or whatever? Or if you're an ESL student, how did you best learn? And I want you to think about that experience, how little or how well you learned, and what worked best, assuming that it was the in-class instruction that worked best for you. Some of you might have gone to a foreign country to practice your Spanish, which would have been very fortunate. But whatever language you learn, how did you best learn it? And I want you to think about it in terms of listening and speaking first. So conversational language, how did you best learn your conversational language? What situations? And then also reading and writing. Of course, we know reading and writing is after the fact. Kids don't start out reading and writing, they start out conversing and listening. And listening is the first big issue. I do want to mention that there's a thing called the silent period, because when you're little, no one realizes it because you're silent anyhow. But when you learn a second language, it's always really beneficial, if you can, to have a couple of months just to listen to the language in all kinds of situations and gradually accustom your ear to it. So you can pick up the rhythm of the language, the context of words, etc. And that's huge. That's huge. I'm also going to share a video with you this week about a guy who learned Arabic, and he did it with no reading and no writing, and he's an adult. So I want to share that with you because it's quite interesting. It's a little long, but he became quite proficient, I think, in Arabic. Went to Egypt, but at the end, near the end of the year, to improve his Arabic, and he did it without working. He didn't memorize. He didn't take examinations. He didn't have college credit classes. He did it on his own, but he did it in an unusual way. And I like you to draw conclusions, ideas from observing how other people have done it, because language teaching historically has been in bad hands. It's not been taught in the best way. The old traditional college version of teaching a language is reading and translation, et cetera, et cetera. I'll talk more about that later. But I want you to think about your own experience. It's always good to think. I always think it's very good to critically think about your own experience and your emotions about that experience. I mean, what did you hate? What did you like? What worked? Maybe nothing worked. Maybe you didn't learn any Spanish in your Spanish class. I like languages, and I learned tons in high school Spanish. Okay, but it also mattered how I was taught too. I wasn't taught by memorize, yo hablo español, repeat after me. I didn't do that. So now the other thing I want you to look at is Stephen Krashen. The video I have on here is old, and Krashen is now old, but his video is a little grainy, from the 80s. But he talks about two ways of learning German. And just pay attention. It's about a 15-minute video. It's not long. And he has a lot to say. And I have a lot of books by Krashen. He's quite a diva, as I call it, in language teaching, but he's pretty accurate. I'm not saying he's perfect on everything, but he's pretty accurate. He's very confident in himself. Big ego. And then I have another little video, 3 minutes long, which you may have to watch 2 or 3 times. It shows an elementary teacher teaching a class in a language you will not know. I doubt if you'll know it. But she will use a few words that you will know. And if you listen carefully to the first part of this little 3-minute video, you will be able to hear some of those words. And if you think about it, you'll be able to say, oh, she said this word. Okay, I'll give you one easy example. She has the word chocolat, and you probably know what that is. So I want you to watch it, and she teaches it one way the first time, and she teaches the same lesson with the same words the second time. And the second time version, you understand much more. And this is a good little example of what works in teaching a language and what doesn't. Okay, and she's teaching it to like first graders. So, and if you guess the language, and if you're really good and you can actually pick out 4 words in the first lesson without actually seeing anything to tell you what the words mean, then you are really good at listening to foreign languages. And I've listened to it enough. I can say parts of the language automatically because I've heard it so many times over the years. It's also a bit of a dated example. So you got my video. My first week, I want us to go over those culture maps because they're very important for using with the ESL kids, ELs. Some point I'll give you a list of abbreviations, et cetera, terminology in ESL. You need to know that. And of course, our textbook will be, I got it here somewhere, but it's going to be the SIOP model, which is a pretty scientifically, as much scientific as you can get, approach to how to teach a language and also how to assess a language and how to assess how to teach it well. And Grand Island for many years used this approach. So I don't think they do now, but you got to watch school systems. They always switch over. They're always changing. And so, no, I don't think anybody uses one system and sticks with it for 20 years. That just doesn't happen. Anyhow, well, this is the dude talking to you. So if you don't know who the dude is, you can look up the dude and you'll see who this guy is. I would like to bid you welcome to this class. And also, you notice we're going to be live talking mainly about your culture maps this week. I put 4 different dates on, including even next Sunday. But I would like you, it's very important to narrow you down to no more than 2 options, because I'm not going to be on 4 times a week every week when we do have the live video. So welcome. And I know probably, except for a couple of you, I haven't talked to you this week, and I guess people couldn't make it to the introductory how are you session, but I'll do something similar in our session. So I'll be on tomorrow night at 5 to 6:30, first time around. I hope you have your culture map, and you should be able to bring it up, because when you're on here, you should be able to show it to us from your discussion page from this week. Okay, thank you.